Hey everybody, welcome to Wild, Creative, and Confident, a video interview series where you can learn from the most inspiring industry leaders on how you can use your passion and your creativity to design the life and the business of your dreams. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Thompson from wildandcreative.com, the creative success coach. And today I have with me Nikki, who you have probably seen all over social media with her bright red hair. And that's what first actually caught me onto her. She is a social media strategist and branding coach, which her business is called the School of Badass Branding. School of Badass Branding.
Yeah.
And she started out in the fitness industry as a fitness instructor in New York City, which she's still doing, but she has morphed these two awesome careers together, and she's really making a name for herself. So welcome, Nikki Pebbles.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you because I feel like you are definitely iconic in a sense. If anybody does a bright color of hair, they get to be well known and things like that. But every time I see a post and things like that from you, you have a really strong message, and it seems like you're really reaching out and grabbing your following. Like, how are you? I want to ask you, how are you? Where are you coming from? Like from that sense, like where did this all start for you?
Well, when it comes to, where it all started from was really going through a lot of ups and downs and mistakes. That's kind of where I get my ideas from my posts from, for what I want to post, because I'm really always thinking about pain points because I've been through a lot of stuff. The majority of the time, someone has gone through that too. And that applies for both business and especially when I was doing fitness, with weight loss too. I've had instances where, I recently wrote a post about this investor who refused to shake my hand at a meeting because I was a woman, and actually said to me, "Oh, you could just take notes. You could just take notes." And I was so upset. And I actually ran into him 4 years later, and he actually wanted me to work with him on a campaign. And I was like, I'm just kind of busy right now running my business. So I appreciate it. And I actually wrote that into a posting. I got great reactions because it was a pain point that people can relate to. So that's really where I'm coming from, is the struggles and tribulations, and then the rising of being in business and being a female in business. So that's kind of where that inspiration comes from.
And have you always been, you seem like a very creative individual. Have you always been very creative and really implemented that into your business?
Yeah, so I grew up a dancer. So I started dancing at 3 years old. Always did it, was always in plays, always performing. If you look in my yearbook in 6th grade, I actually put that I wanted to be like Britney Spears. That was my goal, my career goal. I wanted to be famous.
Yeah, so you're saying it's high.
Yeah, right? Come on. So that was really always in my head. And then actually when I got into college, I kind of put the creativity kind of to the backside. And I have my degree in English and psychology. So originally I wanted to be, for a quick second, a psychologist. Awesome. And, just really felt the life getting sucked out of me being in college. And once I graduated, owning a business and getting into marketing and all that stuff just really spoke to me. But I've always been super creative with just coming up with ideas and integrating them with people, and I love that. So, creativity is a huge aspect of my life.
Did you ever feel that you would get to this place in your business that you are now when you were younger, like when you're starting out? Did you have a lot of stepping stones that you got to this point, or has it always kind of been like a gradual, like you kind of seen it in the future?
Kind of both. I think I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. That was always a dream of mine since I was little. My friends were all like, "Oh my God, I want to get married and have kids when I'm in my 20s. I swear to God, I was at a sleepover. I was just telling my mom this. I was at a sleepover and we were going around the circle, and everyone's like, "What do you want to do when you get older?" I'm like, "I want to own my own business." And people thought I was crazy. And that really kind of carried out through my entire life. And then when I really started my first business, it was a huge learning experience. I did it I had a partner, and that alone is a huge learning process. So it wasn't always, I always knew where I wanted to go, and I always knew the big picture, but sometimes just the steps were a little fuzzy because, I would take 5 steps forward and then 10 steps back. So it took some time to get here. And I'm still growing, I still have such a bigger picture of where I want to be at. But yeah, I've learned a lot of lessons along the way, and it wasn't always easy.
So something I really want to talk about with you today is really about receiving. I mean, we hear this word all the time everywhere, and it's all about, allowing things to come into your life. But I want to ask you specifically, how have you been able to allow the universe or whatever you call divine, whatever, really provide you with everything that you have now?
I mean, I think it's equal parts of manifesting it, but more so, I think it's really trusting in yourself. I think one of my biggest things that I've learned is that when I start to feel worried and freaking out, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? I'm not trusting myself. I'm really not trusting myself. So what I always do is in the beginning of either a quarter or every month, I always write down a huge list of goals, and really manifest that. Think to myself, okay, I want to, let's say, make $20,000 this month. Okay, so that's up. How am I going to do that though? Because I think that's a really big mistake. People think, oh, I'm just going to repeat that I want this, and then they don't put the steps down. So I think the steps are a really huge part of it, and and just really trusting myself, really saying to myself, I can do this. I am going to do this. No matter what comes my way, I know I can handle it. And that's kind of how I've used the universe to push me towards being successful.
And what is your take on infinite receiving? Like when you hear those words, infinite receiving, like what is your take on that?
I think my take, I guess, would be the ability to always be receiving, right? Like you're always able to receive both positive and bad things, because I think that even when we receive maybe not so positive vibes from the universe, that also is telling us something. So we're always receiving signals. We're always receiving things around us. And it really means just paying attention to what is getting sent to us.
Yeah, that's okay. That's such a good point. And I mean, like using your intuition is such a big part of being able to receive too. I know that you kind of touched on that before, but
yeah,
I mean, if people aren't really listening to their intuition or listening to themselves, I mean, they're going to get so many roadblocks, right? And
yeah,
that's just a whole other thing about not being able to receive, right? So
yeah, listening to, and that's, oh my God. I mean, I was just talking about this with someone. Listening and being intuitive and listening to your gut is so huge, because most of the time we know the answer, right? We already know what the answer is, whether that means not taking that client. Like I've had instances like that where I've spoke with people and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right, but I still take it. And then, it's not the right fit, and it has nothing to do. It's not personal. It's just, you should have listened to your gut. Other, different opportunities I've taken, when you make it about money and you're like, oh, I'm going to take that because it's great money. In your gut, this isn't right. Like, this doesn't feel right. And we don't listen to it. So really, once again, trusting yourself and listening to that gut is huge in business, is humongous.
What would you, I'm sure you get this too with your clients coming to you for advice. What would you say to women who are out there and they are doing everything that they love to do? They are even say they're being a coach, or say they're, have their own business or what have you, doing exactly what they want, are having so much fun doing it. Know that they're coming from a place of service. Know that they are helping so many different people. However, they're not allowing the financial aspects to allowing them into their life.
Yeah.
What do you think it is that you could suggest to them that they're missing?
So the magical word of what you said is service. I think of it as value. So I think if you look at the definition, and maybe I could pull it up, the definition of service versus value. So a lot of times when we're servicing, right, people think, okay, I'm going to service this person. I'm giving them X, Y, and Z for this. But when you're of value, people will pay for that, right? You value yourself, you value your time. That's a completely different feeling. Completely different feeling. And I think a lot of the times when you're not bringing in that money, but you feel like I'm doing everything I can, why isn't this happening? You really have to step back and say to yourself, okay, am I just like giving and not valuing what I'm actually doing? Because listen, I am all for giving. I love giving free content out, but at the end of the day, I know my value, and that is super important. And also I know my target audience. I know the voice of my company. A lot of times we get lost in that too. You know, we don't know who our ideal client is. So we're just servicing out everywhere. And we're like, oh my God, who am I talking to? When your ideal client's like, I'm over here, and you're not even touching her. So it's really paying attention to those really important steps. You have to building a business is like building a house. You have to have that concrete foundation, right? That concrete foundation of what you stand for. What is your business standing for? And then from there, you can look at all the bells and whistles, the website, the logo, the colors. That's great. That's great. That's all those picture frames and staircases and beautiful kitchen in that house. But you got to get that foundation down first. And you got to realize that you're a value before you even step out to sell anything.
Yeah, it's such a good point, because it's so easy to get, wrapped up with what everybody else is doing online, or what you should be offering too, right? Because we look in every direction. Someone's offering something new that we should be implementing into their business. And it's really tricky for a lot of people to just say, no, that's not exactly for me. But when you are coming from a place of service, you can sometimes get into a role of, just providing. And a lot of the times, you might be providing, 40% great content in all these directions, but you're not really providing 100% of who you truly are, who your message is to those specific directions, right? So that's what you really
Exactly. And people buy into you. You know what I mean? People don't buy into products because there's so many products out there. People buy into what you stand for. And I think the best example for that is like, if you look at, let's say like Rachael Ray, the cook, right? Like she is, her brand right off the bat. She's very well known. She came out with a dog food line, right? Now has nothing to do with cooking, but she has a dog food line. I was in Target and I'm like, oh my God, Rachael Ray, I trust her. I'm going to buy her dog food. Like, that's the best example of having a really strong brand and people trusting your brand. You could throw anything out there and people are going to be like, oh, well, it's so-and-so. I love her. So I'm going to look into that package. So really think about you. People are buying from you. They're not buying your products. They're buying you.
And she has really, truly over the years sold her story of how she loves animals and loves dogs. She has many dogs. And so that she has street cred in that way, right? And so you're like, okay, she knows exactly what I need, right? So actually I was just watching a TED Talks the other day, and it was from his last name is Senek, and it's called I believe it's called The Power of Why. And it's all about really approaching the way that you do business from the why standpoint. It's not about what you're selling. It's about why this is going to increase someone else's life, and also why you're doing it, because that's why they're really going to connect with you, right? It's not just about you're selling a pen, right?
Exactly.
Right. So tell me what's been your biggest achievement out of everything? What's been your biggest achievement so far in your business?
I think I haven't reached it yet because and I know that sounds weird, but I guess if I really have to narrow it down, because I haven't reached that pinnacle achievement yet. For me, my biggest goal is I really want to get on Forbes 30 under 30. That's like my main goal, or do a TED Talk. If I reach those two goals, that's my biggest achievement. But so far, I think when I actually left my first company, it was a dance fitness company, and I ran it, like I said, right out of college. I ran it with a partner, and I felt really, really lost by the end of it. And it took a lot of guts because I left and took a chance of starting my own company. And so many people, including him, was like, you are not going to be able to do this. And I told myself I am, because I know I'm worth it, and I know I can do this. And I left and started, NikkiPebbles.com, that now launched into, schoolofbadassbranding.com.
Yeah.
And none of that would exist right now if I didn't take that first step of leaving that company.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that really is my biggest achievement is when I left that company. And it was a hard decision, and I still love it to this day. But, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And that was a painful but very good lesson and achievement for me.
Well, it just shows you too that, you can make those hard decisions and it will work out, right? So
Absolutely.
So I want to rephrase the question again, and maybe this will be the same answer for you.
Okay.
What has been your biggest achievement when it's come to allowing ease and flow into your personal life and business?
What's funny, like thinking about personal life and business. I'll be the first to admit that sometimes my personal life definitely does take a huge backseat when it comes to my business, because I love what I do. So I'm happier working than I am just like relaxing. But I think my greatest achievement would be really just believing in myself. I do. I think believing in myself. Yeah, I think believing in myself, and really coming to terms with who I am as a person. If you met me 8 years ago, I did not look like this. Like I was, completely different, dark hair. I actually had hair on my side. I was, very insecure and not sure about what I wanted to do. And to come to this point and say to myself, like, I have ignited that inner badass in me, that person deep down that was like, let me out.
Yeah.
I think we all have that person. And I did let her out. And, that doesn't mean that, this person has to go dye their hair and shave their head. It just means that, like, I really let out who I truly was, and it worked in my favor. And it always works in your favor because you're being true to yourself. So yeah, that to me, I guess, would be my biggest achievement, is being true to myself and believing in myself.
And when did your transformation happen? Like when did you, or what happened in your life where you decided to, okay, I'm going fire engine red and I'm doing this badass thing?
Yeah. Well, it gradually happened. When I graduated college, I made the decision to start my own business, and then I didn't have to worry about like getting a corporate job. Mm-hmm. So it gradually got this way. My natural hair color is like dark brown. So I first started with like a natural auburn red that like slowly got to there. I'll never forget it. The day that I actually went this color and shaved my head, my hairdresser was like, I think we should shave your side of your head. And we're talking about it for a couple months. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I literally just like shaved it off. And the hair was bright. It like, boom. Like I just decided, I'm like, you know what? We're just going to do this.
Yeah.
But it gradually got there. And, but once I did it, my entire world changed.
I bet.
It totally changed, both for my business and for myself personally. People started, because this is a really great branding tool, right? Like,
it really is.
People like, oh, that redhead, and it doesn't always have to be red hair. It could be, if your branding point is that you have crazy nails, or you have big earrings, or, you wear funky lipstick. It's just something that people will remember. And truly
it did work, because one of my friends first said, with the series, there's a girl online and she's all into fitness and she's got bright red hair. And I was like, I haven't seen her before. And literally you came across my screen, like on my feed or something like that. I was like, yeah, that's her.
Her.
Yeah, no, so it's amazing.
Thank you.
I know you touched on goals a little bit and how, you've had different goals over the years, but I just want to touch on how goals change. How have goals changed for you? You said that you were in, dance career, right?
Yeah.
And that was probably like your number one goal at one time, and then things shift.
Yeah.
I know that some people always still think that they need to hold on to those same goals, but it's really all about allowing them to transform. Can you just touch on that a little bit and how that's happened for you?
Yeah, sure. I think we hold on because we feel like that guilt of like, oh my God, this is my dream. But like dreams change, goals change. And as we get older and as we have different experiences, that kind of shifts. And a great example would be kind of like where I was in fitness and then transferring over to social media, and really focusing on that, because I always just felt like, oh my God, I want to be this fitness superstar and, the next Jillian Michaels and blah, 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 blah. But then like things really started shifting in my life. I really started having more experiences with clients and them being like, I need help with my branding. I need help with my social media. I really thought I was going to really be focusing on fitness for a really long time. And completely shifted because certain experiences in my life called me towards it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start focusing on this. So it's really important to be flexible and say to yourself, okay, you know what? Maybe this didn't work out, or maybe I reached this goal, but now I'm going to do this goal. It always happens that way. And, I think flexibility is the key to this, being able to be flexible in your experiences, because, you plan things and God laughs, or the universe laughs. Like they're like, okay, yeah. So that's how I look at it, just being super flexible with your goals.
How is fitness still a big part of your life?
Well, I still teach fitness. I teach about 10 classes a week.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know. And then I still run NikkiPebbles.com, which is a fitness website. So, I have different fitness plans on there, different meal plans, cookbooks, things like that. So I still really am a huge part of the fitness community. And probably always will be. I want to launch like a membership site for people for fitness, because I do believe that it is a huge life changer when you decide that you want to put fitness into your life. You run your business better, you're a happier person, you're more confident. It's amazing the changes that happen. And I still love that so much, because fitness played such a large part of my life for so long. So I definitely am still very involved in that. In it so much.
Do you think that you being such a big part of the fitness community where you live, especially in New York, that it has really helped you skyrocket your business in social media and branding?
Absolutely. And that's kind of, I really worked on branding myself first, branding myself as a figure. So people, once again, trust me when I brought up social media. But what's in the fitness community, a lot of people make the mistake of not branding themselves. They go along, and same thing with like entertainers too, like with actors and dancers. They're all kind of clumped together, and they don't know how to brand themselves. They don't have a website. They don't have a logo. They're not utilizing social media at all. And that was kind of like my first taste of working with branding and social media, was with my colleagues, with different personal trainers, with different actors, who were like, wow, like, I love your website. How did you do that? How do you do your social media? Can you teach me how to do that?
How can you be a fitness person and know all about the online world? In a sense, right?
A lot of them have a hard time with it and don't realize that it is so necessary. It is so necessary. We are all our own digital company. I mean, really, doesn't matter what you're doing, you need to be digital. Like, you need to be online, because in 5 years, everything's going to be digital. So it's super, super important that people are educated on that. And that it really did help. The fitness industry really helped me a lot with skyrocketing my social media business.
Because so many people, love to do a few different things. And, society basically tells us you got to get very clear on what you want to do and you got to pick one thing and you go for it like that. But I mean, me as well as you are into many different things and we love to do different things. And so it's great when you can find a real nice harmony with yourself, like fitness and social media and branding. But I think that you found that harmony so well because you really decided to, like you said, brand yourself first. And I think that is so important. I mean, we're not telling all of you guys to, go out and dye your hair blue or, whatever, but it's just all about finding your true inner essence and bringing it out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell people the first step in kind of branding yourself is picking 3 words that you stand for.
Nice.
And then being able to then take those 3 words and create, like, I call it a power statement. So for instance, for me, like entrepreneur, empowerment, and what else? Entrepreneurship, empowerment, and social media, right? Like those are 3 things that define myself. My power statement would be like, I help female entrepreneurs find their voice in social media and branding. That's my power statement. I put that everywhere in my social media, bios, all that stuff. So it's super easy to find 3 words that really represent you. They could be any 3 words that suit your liking, and then take that and make that a power statement. And that's like really your first step in starting that branding process, because now you're, no matter what you're posting, what you're putting up, those 3 words are always apparent. Even if you're not actually putting them into your posts, the voice behind it speaks volumes on those 3 words.
Yeah, it really adds to your personal mission statement, if you will, right?
Correct.
Or even if you're going to think about like a color branding board, like you're going to use for interior design or branding or whatever, in your mind, just keep those 3 words and just always be true to those 3 words and you'll always stay on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They're like your North Star whenever you feel off. So, yeah.
Awesome. What would you suggest to the entrepreneurs or future entrepreneurs that are watching this regarding a method that's really worked for you that could help them find their true, authentic calling or their true, their North Star in a sense too?
Yeah.
We just talked about one.
Yeah. So definitely doing the 3 words and the power statement. I think also networking, talking to people and just hearing them out and not pitching, like you're not pitching anything. I love doing coffee Skype dates. So like I'll even go out and like get like a virtual Starbucks gift card and I'll send it to a person and be like, hey, let's meet on Skype and let's chit chat. Even when like you really have no idea like what you even stand for, talk to people that you think you really like what they're doing and be like, hey, how did you get to that point? Or hey, what's going on with that? Networking is huge and you never know who you're talking to and who they know. And it's just great to make that connection. So definitely making up those 3 words, networking and exploring. It's totally okay to think you're going to be doing one thing and then go off and do another thing. I look at it as college. Like I changed my major 7 times in college. like I wanted to try everything. And I did like over 8 internships throughout my college career and, learned so much from all of those experiences. So don't be afraid if you're going into this being like, I want to be a life coach. And then you think to yourself, you know what? I really want to be, a business coach or a social media coach or a fitness coach, whatever. It's that whole experience. You're gaining who you are through those experiences. So don't be afraid to fail. Try it. And then you just repeat the process all over again. Yeah. So that's what I would say when it comes to like kind of finding your North Star is just go, jump, do it.
I know that you talked a little bit about being a woman in business before when you first started talking. And can you shed any light on that regarding networking and women who... I find that in the past, it's been the norm where people have held on to their information and have, not shared their information. But I think now we're really moving into a time where collaboration is key. People are willing to work together. They love sharing information. Can you just kind of touch on that and kind of how you feel like it's going around us in the internet right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think being a woman in business right now if this is the time to do it, without a doubt. There's still a lot of hurdles that have to be found in this. We could do a whole nother video about those experiences. But I think when it comes to being a woman in business and coming around and networking, you really have to be a balance of being assertive, but also still staying attuned to yourself. It's so super easy that people are going to be like, oh, she's a bitch, or she's bossy, or whatever, whatever labels they want to put on us.
Yeah.
It's like literally you call a shot and people are like, oh, don't let that bother you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be like, this is who I am, and I'm just going to go for it. And if you don't like it, then we're not going to work together. Like that. It's literally as simple as that.
Yeah.
So really just staying attuned to who you are, but at the same point, people will try to walk on top of you. I mean, it's happened because they see that you're a woman. They're going to pay you less. They're going to try to pay you less. And you have to stand your ground and say, like, this is what I'm worth. Knowing yourself and knowing your worth, knowing your value is going to be a huge component, because you're already having that step back, unfortunately, because we're women. So we really have to stand tall and stand together in this fight. And, just stay true to yourself.
Women in business right now, though, are really like climbing the mountain to the top, though, aren't they?
Hell yeah.
I don't know if it's just because, I am in tune with a lot of different women in business, and not as many men, I would probably say, and not for any reason, just because that's just kind of like what I've been drawn to. But, even back 10 years ago, a lot of the figures that were showing us how to do social media or how to whatever, right, have been men, and now they are truly women. So it's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. And, I think it's great for the younger generations to see that women are really taking over, and there's so many great voices out there right now who are stepping up to the plate and being like, listen, like, we can do this. You could be your own CEO of your own company and run this and be a woman, and be a mom. Like, you could, like, the possibilities are endless for us right now.
And being a CEO doesn't mean being a CEO of like Walmart. You know what I mean? Like how it used to be, right? Like,
you can run your own company. Like, regardless, you are the CEO of your life. You are the CEO of your life. You choose the people that you want to promote, friends, family, whoever, and you could choose who you demote and fire. And I think a lot of women don't realize that you are the CEO of your life. Always, whether you have a company or not, whether you're staying at home or not, you are the CEO.
Mic drop. Okay.
Mic drop.
Tell us about what you've just been kind of finishing up in your own business, and what we can kind of look forward to seeing from you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am relaunching my website, School of Badass Branding, this week, which I'm pretty excited about. So with that being said, I'm going to be launching a lot of crash courses on social media and branding, just for people who just need quick help. I'm also going to be launching an Instagram 101 mastermind. So I'll be taking like 10 women under my wing and really coaching them on how to be successful on Instagram, which I'm pretty pumped about. And then I am relaunching NikkiPebbles.com, giving it a little bit of a revamp. So we're going to be having, since the summertime is coming, we're going to get a new 28-day transformation program for busy entrepreneurs and women. So that's pretty exciting too. So very busy May coming up.
Awesome. What is your favorite social media then? Is it Instagram?
Yes, I love Instagram. Instagram is my jam. I think that visually it's really appealing. I know there's been a couple of changes lately with their algorithm, but I still love it. I think that it's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to really push out there what they stand for and inspire and educate people. But my second favorite is Snapchat. I think that Snapchat is really climbing the ranks, and they're really doing a fantastic job in branding and marketing. They have a huge billboard in Times Square. Huge.
Really?
Huge. And that's really the first time that like any social media platform has done that in New York City. And I think it's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs with Snapchat, because you could see really the day in the life of what we're doing every day. And I think that a lot of people don't know what entrepreneurs do. So this is a really great opportunity to show people that.
It is funny though, right? Because if somebody doesn't really have that entrepreneurial mindset, which I mean, and we all have tons of family and friends that don't, don't understand what we do all day, right? Or what really drives us. It is funny though, right? Because I mean, I think that a lot of people that aren't entrepreneurs might wonder that, like what an entrepreneur does.
Yeah, like what exactly do we do?
Yeah, it's like a mystery, which is funny, right? That's like anything. But do you have a free gift or a free little tidbit that you'd like to give to our listeners?
Yeah, sure. So I guess a free tip that I would say when it comes to, we'll do Instagram, is really making sure that your hashtag strategy is on point. So many people get this wrong, where they feel like, oh, I don't need hashtags on Instagram. And it's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. You should have up to 30 hashtags. Wow. 30 hashtags, on your Instagram account. And you should be putting them in your comment section. So not in the actual description, in your comments. And a lot of people are always like, well, how do I find hashtags? If you go onto Google, you could actually put in top hashtags for, and then your niche. So you could do for business, for social media, for whatever. And you'll see the top trending hashtags. And then what I always do is, after I curate my 30 hashtags, I always put them in my notes in my phone so I can copy and paste them right into my comments.
So you're just kind of using those same ones again and again, because of your stuff is a lot of the same content, right? So
Correct. I'll maybe switch like 3 or 4 of them every month or so. And then once you really start seeing your following growing, you could start kind of pulling back on putting all 30 on there. But I always suggest when you're new on Instagram, use all 30 of them. But if you go on my website, I definitely have so many different freebies when it comes to coming up with hashtag strategies for yourself. And if you're interested, I'm willing, because I love you guys, and this has been so awesome. If you want, I'll do a free 30-minute hashtag strategy for anyone who's watching this. So yeah.
That's awesome, because I think a lot of the time people, they're kind of getting into Instagram, and I've even got to say myself, like I definitely use hashtags, but often I'm like puzzled as to what exactly I should be hashtagging, right? Because, and I do a lot of stuff on creativity, so that's so broad again, right? So, your little teachings are going to definitely help me kind of like zone in on what exactly I should be hashtagging.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, you mentioned your website. So where can people find you? So
social media wise, everything is Nikki Pebbles. So Nikki, Pebbles, like Pebbles Flintstone, Pebbls.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And then your badass branding website.
Yeah. So you can visit me at the schoolofbadassbranding.com. And all my stuff is on there. And then also nikkipebbles.com for my fitness stuff.
Okay, that is awesome. So I have one more question for you before we go. Sure. What is it that makes you wild, creative, and confident?
Wild, creative. I think helping other women become successful. That's always been the thing that like lights me up. And really why I feel like I was put on this earth was to inspire other people to be powerful, to realize that they're powerful. And seeing that energy gives me energy. So when I know I'm putting that out to the world and I see a woman who maybe has always been scared to wear red lipstick and they wear red lipstick out, listen, go girl. Like that makes me, that lights me up and like makes me wild and confident. Like I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah. So seeing other women take that step in igniting who they really are, is what I'm here for.
Well, if helping other women makes you energetic and give you energy, then you must be helping a lot of women, because you are like full of it.
Thank you, girl.
Well, thank you so much for being on this series with us. I know that so many people are going to grab so much stuff out of what you've said. We've talked about so many different things, and it's so wonderful. And everybody, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to head to the Wild and Creative website for the brand new program that's just come out, Wild, Creative, and Confident: 6 Steps to Creative Success. So check that out. But thank you so much. And
thank you.
We will see you again.
Yes, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.